I'm Steve Vandegraff, your host today. Our goal on this podcast is to help dentists build a practice that enables them to live a life with more freedom, where you can spend more time doing what you want with who you want. We do this by sharing advice for practice management. We teach you how to be more productive, how to develop a winner's mindset, and also by sharing personal experiences. Today's podcast is going to be one of those. I wanted to share with you what I'm doing personally. If you can pull some pearls or if it makes you excited, then great. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's good too, no worries, but I'm going to share nonetheless. In my last episode, I shared that I had just sold my practice and I talked about how I went through that. The fun part though is what happens after. My wife and I have decided to move our family abroad to Europe, where we're going to be exploring different countries and live a nomadic type life for a time. We actually just left. It's kind of crazy to be talking about it and be on the trip now, but as of right now, we don't have a set date of returning. We'll just do our trip for at least the end of the year, see how we're doing. But for now, we just got one-way tickets. Everybody, my wife, myself, and the kids, we each get one backpack. We're going to be staying at Airbnbs and hostels. And the general plan for transportation is to use subways and buses when we're in city centers, and then rental cars when we're in the mountains or the countryside. We're going to be taking trains or Ryanair flights in between the countries. So we're super excited. My wife loves Ireland. She's been wanting to go forever. So we're going to spend a couple weeks in Ireland. My kids, they love Harry Potter. So we're going to go to Scotland and explore there. My daughter is an adrenaline junkie. So we're going to go hiking and paragliding in the Alps. My other daughter loves Percy Jackson books. So we're going to spend some time in Greece. My sons love soccer, so we're going to go to European soccer games. I studied Western history in college, so I'm excited for Paris and Rome. But we also have a lot of unscheduled time for us to just wander. We're going to be doing some homeschooling each day for our younger kids, and my oldest son has a couple of online classes. So we sold the practice. I finished the transition period about 2 weeks ago, and then we've done a mad dash. We put most of our stuff into storage. We sold or gave away the rest. We cleaned and painted the house within a week. I gave the keys to our realtor and told him to sell the house. I gave him power of attorney to close while we're gone. I told him if it doesn't sell, we'll give the keys to my property manager and we'll just get it rented out. We sold the car, took the kids out of school. We packed our backpacks, a camera, and a laptop for TLP coaching and went to the airport and flew out, leaving it all behind. It has been a super busy few weeks. And it's pretty surreal to have just started our journey. It's very exciting. If this is exciting to you, that's great. I'm happy to share my journey at this point. I know this is very non-traditional. But one thing I wanted to make clear is I am not some influencer. I don't have a perfect life or a perfect family. You're not going to see some dreamy, edited Instagram profile from me. But if you're in the TLP community, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't want average. You don't want a do what everybody else does type life. And so that's why I'm sharing this with our group. But most importantly, here's a short lesson behind what I'm doing that I'd like you to consider. People have a lot of different motivations. Initially, we all work to survive and then to cover our costs. But then after that, there's different things that people desire. Some people seek respect and they'll work for status. This can be advanced degrees or impressive job titles or a fancy resume. Having those things can make some people feel very important. Other people, after they've earned enough money to survive, they keep working to have greater wealth. Having a lot of money is very important. And there's other people, they work just because they enjoy it. Working is an end in itself. So we're all motivated by different things. And it's usually not just one thing either. We usually have different motivations at the same time. But the cool thing about life is you get to choose what is most important to you. If you want to earn a lot of money, you can. If you want to reach a new professional level, then you can do that. If you just want to work because you enjoy it, keep working. But the problem is people often don't think about what it is they want. And then when we do, we usually don't live in alignment with that thing that's most important to us. I found it very interesting. I've read a few studies from interviews with elderly people, asking them to think back on their life, and they consistently report that they wish they didn't work so much. They also say consistently that they wished they had focused more on relationships. And then they also wish that they had allowed themselves to feel more happiness. As they say, when you die, you can't take anything with you. All we're going to have later on, and really all we have now in a sense, are experiences. Seeing our life as a accumulation of experiences rather than accumulation of money will lead to more joy and, inevitably, a different way of prioritizing our time. For me, I've thought I'll probably live for 40 to 60 years with my kids, but for most of that time, they're adults. I've only got 10 to 15 years when they're going to be kids. So this is the time to invest in experiences, and that will hopefully be memories for them in the future. So for me, it was a very poor financial decision to part with my practice in my 30s. But as Bill Perkins wrote, if you really think through the implications of saying that your legacy consists of experiences with your children, the conclusion you reach might be somewhat radical. That is, once you have enough money to take care of your family's basic needs, then by going to work to earn more money, you might actually be depleting your kids' inheritance because you're spending less time with them. So my new plan, what we're doing is definitely radical in a way, but we're prioritizing experiences in the now. In closing, I'd encourage you to prioritize experiences, relationships, and happiness. That doesn't mean selling everything you have and living out of a backpack. But if there is something that you have dreamed about or something that gets you excited, go ahead and experience it in some degree right now. For us, we decided to live in Europe after we finally did a trip to London and Paris last year, and we realized how much we loved it. If we wouldn't have done that small trip, then this would have seemed out of reach or even off of our radar. So do something right now. Even if you don't want to travel or explore, if that's not what you're into, that's fine, but invest in experience. It could be as simple as turning off the screens and doing something memorable this weekend. One thing it probably means for most people listening to this is taking complete ownership of your practice situation so that it's enabling you to spend more time doing things you really enjoy. That would require putting in real, uncomfortable work to get your team, your practice, and your production where it needs to be. But I can tell you it is worth it. So whatever the step is for you, make your move and do it now. Reach out if you need help. Steve, Matt, or Derek at thelifestylepractice.com. Have a great week. Welcome to the Lifestyle Practice Podcast.